Hey everybody, I've got this notebook in my office, COVID stuff kept off the news, and I've been collecting information, keeping it in this binder, and I want to read this one article to you about how fear can spread from person to person faster than the coronavirus actually can, and there are ways to slow it down. So this is an article in theconversation.com. It's actually from March 16th, 2020, but I stumbled across it last week because we need to control our fear, and because it messes up your nervous system. If you're full of fear, you're going to be in that fight or flight response, and it's just going to interfere with how you heal, and you will be more susceptible to illness. So rather than worrying about something that might sneak up on you and make you sick, I would like you to look at how your fear is contributing to it. I also want you to look at how any chronic illness that you have been tolerating is contributing to any illness. If you look at Ivor Cummins' podcasts, listen to them. You can look at them, but listening to them will actually give you the information. He is an Irish engineer, and he knows how to look at data. And he'll tell you, this is November. The statistics are matching past flu seasons. I don't like to say flu season, so I'll just say winter time, because that's when we get a little bit more run down. Our vitamin D is down. We don't have sunshine. The leaves are gone. They're dormant. They're dead, and we're waiting for spring. And our health is affected by the change of the season. But I do want you to not tolerate chronic illness and get to the bottom of it, because it's decades and decades and decades of how we've actually put up with it is not helping us out today, because still the sickest of the sick are in trouble. If you're going to the hospital, you are the worst of the worst. And the deaths right now, 80% of deaths are people in nursing homes. And I hate to say that. It's sad. They are very immobile. They have poor circulation already. And so they're weaker and weaker. And I hate to see that happen. I want everybody to prevent the breakdown of health. Stay vibrant, stay vital, and concentrate on your brain health, because the brain makes the body so you can make your life. Oh, this is episode 111. Just wanted to put that in there. Let's read the article. Fear can spread from person to person faster than the coronavirus, but there are ways to slow it down. As cases of COVID-19 proliferate, there's a pandemic of fear unfolding alongside the pandemic of the coronavirus. Media announce mass cancellations of public events over coronavirus fears. TV stations show images of coronavirus panic shopping. Magazines discuss attacks against Asians sparked by racist coronavirus fears. That was back in March. I think we've calmed down a little bit since then. The shopping is a little bit easier, and so on and so forth. Due to the global reach and instantaneous nature of modern media, fear contagion spreads faster than the dangerous yet invisible virus. Watching or hearing someone else who's scared causes you to be frightened too, without necessarily even knowing what caused the other person's fear. As a psychiatrist and researcher studying the brain mechanisms of social regulation of emotions, I frequently see in clinical and experimental settings how powerful fear contagion can be. That's an important term, fear contagion. So hang on to that and understand how it works, because it's actually fueling illness. You don't have to become ill. You know that. Nobody has to become ill. It all depends on how we protect our health and prevent. Fear contagion is an evolutionarily old phenomena that researchers observe in many animal species. It can serve a valuable survival function. Imagine a herd of antelopes pasturing in the sunny African savanna. Suddenly, one senses a stalking lion. The antelope momentarily freezes, Then it quickly sets off an alarm call and runs away from the predator. In the blink of an eye, other antelopes follow. Pretty efficient, pretty cool. Brains are hardwired to respond to threats in the environment. Sight, smell, or sound cues that signal the presence of the predator automatically triggered the first antelope's survival response. First, immobility, then escape. I don't quite get the immobility part because I think we need to just escape immediately, but the author might let us know specifically what he's talking about. The amygdala, a structure buried deep within the side of the head in the brain's temporal lobe, is key for responding to threats. It receives sensory information and quickly detects stimuli associated with danger. Then the amygdala forwards the signal to other brain areas, including the hypothalamus and brainstem areas, to further coordinate specific defense responses. So a lot of activity in the brain. It's very quick, and it's based on a lot of instinctual, inborn responses within the brain. These outcomes are commonly known as fright, freeze, flight, or fight. We human beings share these automatic, unconscious behaviors with other animal species. That explains the direct fear the antelope felt when sniffing or spotting a lion nearby, but fear contagion goes one step further. The antelope's run for their lives that followed one frightened group member was also automatic, so one person sensed danger and the rest followed through. Their escape, however, was not directly initiated by the lion attack. There was no lion attack, only just the under this awareness of a presence of a lion. But the behavior of the terrified group member, momentarily freezing, I guess that's where that comes in, sounding the alarm and running away. The group as a whole picked up on the terror of the individual and acted accordingly. So we do have an energy field around us that can sense each other's energy field. And if you're not aware of that, understand it's just a cool process. And that's how we can communicate. Our cells can communicate to each other. And I find that more and more fascinating. And some researchers will call that resonance, 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 not residence. There's a difference. And I hope you can pick up on that in the video. Lost my spot. Like other animals, people are also sensitive to panic or fear expressed by our kin. Human beings are exquisitely tuned to detect other people's survival reactions. And a lot of that may be happening right now in an extraordinary manner. So understand that. Understand that. Experimental studies have identified a brain structure called the anterior cingulate cortex as vital for this ability. It surrounds the bundle of fibers that connect the left and right hemisphere of the brain. When you watch another person express fear, your ACC lights up. Studies in animals confirm that the message about another's fear travels from the ACC to the amygdala, where the defense responses are set off. It makes sense why an automatic, unconscious fear contagion would have evolved in social animals. It can help prevent the demise of an entire group bound by kinship, protecting all their shared genes so they can be passed on to future generations. Indeed, studies show that social transmission of fear is more robust between animals, including humans, that are related or belong to the same group, as compared to between strangers. That was a long sentence there, so let me condense it. So there's this transmission of fear is very powerful among closely related people when compared to strangers. Nevertheless, fear contagion is an effective way of transmitting defense responses not only between members of the same group or species, but also across species. Many animals through evolution acquired an ability to recognize alarm calls of other species. For example, bird squawks are known to trigger defense responses in many mammals. So this is very primal, inborn. It's there, but it's fascinating when you think about it. Now let's put a modern spin on this. Transmitting fear in 2020. Fear contagion happens automatically and unconsciously, making it hard to really control. You have to understand that. It's automatic. This phenomena explains mass panic attacks that can occur during music concerts, sports events, or other public gatherings. Once fear is triggered in the crowd, maybe someone thought they heard a gunshot, there is no time or opportunity to verify the sources of terror. People must rely on each other, just like antelopes do. The fear travels from one to the next, infecting each individual as it goes. What an interesting choice of words. Everyone starts running for their lives. Too often, these mass panics end up with tragedies. Fear contagion does not require direct physical contact with others. This is the interesting modern part. Media distributing terrifying images and information can very effectively spread fear. Moreover, wild antelopes on the savannah stop running once they're at a safe distance from a predator. Scary images on the news will keep you fearful. So antelopes don't watch the news. There's an important thing to realize here from the article. The feeling of immediate danger never subsides in us humans. Fear contagion didn't evolve under the always-on conditions of Facebook, Twitter, and the 24-hour news. So that's a little modern dilemma we have to make peace with there. There's no way to prevent fear contagion from kicking into gear. It's automatic and unconscious after all. Like, if I hear the news in my car radio and immediately in my mind, oh, what now? That's what my brain says. Oh, what's next? Especially certain news channels, and there's some that are just notorious for scaring the bejeepers out of you. And the problem there is you can't even confirm what you're hearing is true. And I'm going to say it's embellished. The journalists choose the news that you're going to hear, unfortunately, and they're going to choose negativity. But you can do something to mitigate it. I'm back to the article. Since it's a social phenomena, many rules that govern social behavior apply. Almost done here. Got 3 paragraphs left. In addition to information about fear, information about safety can be socially transferred too. Also, studies have found that being in the presence of a calm and confident person may help overcome fear acquired through observation of others. For instance, a child terrified by a strange animal will calm down if there's a calm adult present. This kind of safety modeling is especially effective when you have your eyes on someone close to you or someone you depend on, such as a caretaker or an authority figure. Now, when you're in the hospital right now, you're alone, and that part is troublesome to me. Granted, I know there are nurses who are just the most heartwarming, caring individuals on this planet, and they are there with you, but they are busy, and they have to take care of everybody, and they also get tired, and they also need bathroom breaks. That is not the same as a loved one being there at the hospital advocating for you. And I think that is a terrible problem right now during this illness scenario. Also, actions matter more than words, and words and actions must match. For example, explaining to people that there's no need for a healthy person to wear a protective face mask, and at the same time showing images of presumably healthy COVID-19 screening personnel wearing hazmat suits is counterproductive. You've seen those. You've seen those. Oh, every time you open up the newspaper. Oh my gosh. People will go and buy face masks because they see authority figures wearing them when confronting invisible danger. Interesting, his use of words. And very interesting. I think it's a female. Beth Daly, editor and general manager. Okay, I don't know who the author is, honestly. I have to go back to the original, where the article originated. But let's continue on. There's so much embellishment in the news that we should try to poke holes any chance we get. It's only fair. And if you don't feel like your questions are being answered appropriately, or you see inconsistencies, and I see inconsistencies all over the place, I point them out. CDC articles, I print them out and post them in my office. You should be able to say, what's going on here? This is not following your other train of thought or your other publication. Things don't line up. So be aware of that. And don't be afraid to say what's going on, because that's important. It's important for your own sense of empowerment. But words do matter. I'm going back to the article. Words still matter. Information about danger and safety must be provided clearly with straightforward instructions on what to do. When you are under significant stress, it is harder to process details and nuances. Let me delve into that. It's harder to process details when you're under stress. Yes. When you're in that state of fight or flight, your blood flow is being removed from your prefrontal cortex to go to your extremities. Your digestive organs do not get blood flow so that you can concentrate on safety and escape. With that lack of blood flow at your prefrontal cortex, no, you're not going to think clearly. Your automatic brain is going to take over, and your body is going to rely on that until you get back to safety. So, dealing with modern dilemmas, we have to discern and tell ourselves, we may be watching a horrible news story on TV. You are not in it. You are in your home. You are in some area where you do have control over your situation. You don't need to have that fight or flight feeling always taking over and removing you from that discernment. I'm going to repeat this. When you're under significant stress, it's harder to process details and nuances, and that is physiological. When your brain is going to shift gears and get into that fight or flight. So we've got to understand fight or flight, get out of it as quickly as possible, and nurture ourselves so we don't get worn out, because that's how we lose our tissue resilience. Too much of wearing out and not enough restoration of our tissues. We have to rebuild. We have to give back to the body. I think I have 2 more sentences left to go. When you are withholding important facts or lying increases uncertainty, and uncertainty augments fears and anxieties. Of course, we hate lying. And I sometimes think the truth is stretched a little bit with all these news stories. We can't even agree on what causes atherosclerosis. We can't even agree on what is the best diet for an individual. So we are not going to agree on everything going on during this acute illness scenario. So you've got to really look at all avenues, ask for second opinions, and just try to sort it all out as best as you can. But we do know not all the facts are present. I'm going to say it. A lot of scientists do want to keep their funding going. They don't want to lose their grants. And there are a lot of shortcuts in science. And that's just a sad fact of life. So protect that fight or flight response so you do not wear yourself out. An overwhelmed nervous system does harm to the body. And my whole purpose being here is to teach you how to take the best care of your body. And that is the BFA protocol, Brain First Always. Chiropractic is the foundation of that. And everything I talk about and teach is based on that chiropractic foundation. I invite you to learn everything you can about the BFA protocol, and I am happy to work with you. That's my joy in life. That's my passion in life. One more sentence in this article. Evolution hardwired human beings to share threats and fears with others, but it is also equipped us. It also equipped us with the ability to cope with these threats together. So teaching each other how to live fully and live vibrantly is important. Helping each other, that we're all here to help each other. We should be taking stress away from each other. We should be removing that horrible stress so that we can function better. And I need your full participation in the world. You can't do it with an impaired brain. We need your time. We need your talents. So ask me about the BFA protocol. Ask me about coaching. Look at the other videos. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends there's some information here that they might appreciate. And I'll see you at the next video.